Welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast. My name is Daniel,
Daniel.
and today we are doing our weekly Chits and Giggles, as we called it. And this is going to be our weekly discussion topic. For today's topic, we are going to be discussing traveling games, because I think that's what everybody's hoping to do soon.
Yeah, exactly.
There's currently a restriction. Of course, this is being filmed in mid-April, like the last third of April in 2020. So most people are at lockdown, and so there's not too many opportunities for traveling. But we thought about games that we yeah, lock up. We thought about games that we wanted to talk about for traveling, whether that be travel, like during traveling, in various modes, what games are good portably, you could bring to other places, and also when you're with groups of people and they have like a small footprint, like what are kind of the best games that you could play while you're traveling. So with that being said, do you have anything more to add to that, Daniel, before we talk about our weekly stuff?
Not necessarily. It's perfectly encompassed. It's just, this is the hope that we get to travel here with summer coming up and things go back to somewhat of a normalcy.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd talk about these games just in case it opens up soon. So
Yeah. Exactly. Give the viewers something to look forward to, which is great. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. Now, of course, excuse me. There's a lot of games that came to mind on this. Was this an easy list for you?
to an extent, yeah. But just trying to keep it down to like a narrow footprint or a small footprint and stuff that encompasses a really good travel game that you can be playing in a car or play when you get to a hotel room, or if some people are going to amusement parks, that you can play well in an amusement park or on a plane for that matter.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean normally we strictly limit ourselves to about 3 games that we talk about. The top 3 games for traveling. And I had a couple honorable mentions. We haven't done that before, where I've had so many game ideas. And one of my honorable mentions I say specifically because I have played it on an airplane. It was fantastic, and I'll explain that when I get to it. But let's go ahead and go to Facebook. We made a post a couple days ago about this very topic, and as always, we're going to be bringing that up. Do you have the Facebook post ready?
I'm getting it open and loaded right now.
Great. Yeah, so we asked the viewers on Facebook on the Board Game Revolution forum, or the group, and we asked them their opinions on what are good games to use for traveling. And once again, I clarified that it could either be games for or to help with traveling. It could be games to use with all sorts of different ways, whether they're portable. And I believe most of the viewers said they focused on games that were portable, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah.
What did we have?
So, Jolene Montgomery commented about Flux, like any version of Flux that you want to use, I guess can work in this one. She says it's awesome, and they played it on her honeymoon. It's very portable and comes in fun varieties depending on what your interests are, which is true. And Flux is a really good game and a filler game. My only issue with it for travel-wise is at times it doesn't have as small as a footprint as you would want, because there could be all sorts of rules out there,
Keepers and all that stuff. Well,
Yeah.
I mean I think that's a good suggestion, because other than what's in front of you,
I don't disagree with it. It's just the
Yeah.
footprint-wise of it.
right? Yeah, and then but like whatever's in front of you, that's the stuff that's a given, right? You want a table, but then at the same time, you only have a hand of cards that you have to hide, which is not undoable.
Yeah. And then we have another topic here brought to you by Jonathan. He says, Love Letter is an ultimate game for trips, compact and hours of fun, easily played on a plane. So he posted Star Realms, the base game, which is true. The base game of Star Realms is small enough where for two people it's a perfectly fine game to play on the road.
Yeah.
And others that he has on here is Railroad Inc., Welcome to Mint series, which I didn't even think of, but that's true. Mint series
Yeah.
is a really good portable game because they come in a mint tin.
Yep.
Tiny Epic series, Oink games, Button Shy games, games of that nature, small enough to fit in a pocket or a backpack, but pack hours of gameplay in a small package.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more on that. Out of all of those, Love Letter, yeah, that's one of those ones that top my list. I don't have it on my actual list. I'll explain why later. But yeah, Love Letter was definitely one of the first that I thought
I plead the fifth.
of. We'll find out. Well,
Next up was Mitch. He said he spent a month traveling between a boat and a caravan last year. He took a bunch of games, but they had to be packed in Ziploc bags to go into my luggage. Some of the ones I took were Fleet the Dice Game, Welcome to, Codenames, Timeline, Outer Rim, and Terraforming Mars.
wow. He had all
he
of
made those
Terraforming Mars.
traveling games.
Wow, that's intense. I don't know if I would want to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't mind Fleet the Dice Game. Like most roll and writes, Welcome to, they have a small footprint. They're easily played.
Sure.
One people just needs to run it while everybody else in the car or plane or whatnot have to just write in what they need to.
Or they could even laminate the pages and then have even fewer to bring. Yeah.
Exactly. There's that. We have, let's see, three more. Courtney, good friend of ours, she posted that they had found a new kind of like love letter game called Tofu Kingdom, which plays up to 8 players.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with this game. I kind of looked it up a little bit last night, but I'm still not very familiar with it.
Yeah, for the viewers at home, there was one thing that I remember right before they moved, they did show me that tofu game, and I remember it was almost like a tin, but it was a zip pouch, and it was probably smaller than a deck of cards. It was really tiny, and I remember that was a really neat that solved the problem with it being not durable enough as like a tuck box, but then at the same time, it's not as bad as a tin that will open up in your pocket. Whereas like something as small as like an Altoids tin, that shouldn't fall open. But I remember that zipper solution was really cool.
And I just got a second honorable mention just because you talked about packaging and it made me think of it off the top of my head.
Okay.
So, so Nicole posted, Micro City looks like it would be a great traveling game. She thinks La Granja No Siesta would be really good. Big game in a small box. Most roll nights would work well, like Welcome to and Cartographers.
Yep.
And that's true. Welcome to and Cartographers are both flip and write games with a small deck of cards and you're writing on a board. Any roll and write or flip and write I think would do well on traveling. I don't have one on my list, but I think they make good traveling games.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean it's good for like a big group and whatnot. I don't have any on my end too, but I thought about those.
Yeah, I thought about them too, especially the one that Angie suggested, Silver and Gold. We've talked about it ad nauseum the last couple of weeks, but it is such a good game, and it comes in a small packaging. In fact, you could fit that in the glove box.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic suggestion. It really is. Silver and Gold is yeah, I mean, we're so addicted to that game right now.
It really is. It's such a good game. I'm looking on BGG to see if anybody's gotten any solo rules on it. This way I can still keep playing Silver and Gold.
You know what would be a really good use for that? First off, real quick, go ahead and move over to your side a little bit so it's a little bit better on the camera. There you go. What would be really good for Silver and Gold is to put it in a microfiber cloth bag. And so that way you have your eraser with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one complaint that I have about those is that the erasers they don't include any, which they had room in the box that they could have. I don't blame them for not doing it because those erasers are so cheap anyway.
Yeah.
But
well,
yeah,
the thing is, you can get one of those microfiber cloths that you get for your glasses, and that'll do just fine in there. And it'll fit perfectly well in this small package.
Yeah, and they make the microfiber bags for carrying like sunglasses and whatnot. You could totally bring that game in there and then carry it with you and then have the eraser as the bag. That's awesome.
But I think the reason why they have it in this packaging and not the microfiber bagging, as you were saying, is just because people don't like games that tend to come in bags. That's true. They want shelf.
Yep.
And that's everything that was on this Facebook post. So,
Okay.
all good suggestions on there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, so I have two different honorable mentions. How many do you have?
I have two now too. So,
All right, well then I'll go ahead and begin. And this first honorable mention I wanted to bring up because I bought it when I helped my sister move up to Oregon a couple of years ago. We went to a board game shop and I bought this game. And on my flight back, I was alone. And it was a solo game, and I actually played it on the flight back on the tray, and there was barely enough room. It's Friday by Freedom and Freeze, and it's a solo only game. It's kind of like a deck builder. You have 3 little mats that are set up, and I had just enough room to play it, and I lost miserably.
sounds about right.
Got completely destroyed every time. I still have not beaten that game. I'm looking at it right now. It's such a fun game, but oh my goodness, does it destroy you?
All right, so my first honorable mention, this is the one I just thought of because you're talking about the packaging, and that is Happy Salmon by North Star Games.
Oh yeah.
It's a really nice little party game that is just basically a deck of cards that come in a little salmon pouch. And I said that right, a salmon pouch.
Yep, it's in the
Big
shape of a salmon.
bananagrams, but a salmon.
Yep. Yeah. Let me show you. I have it right here. It is a salmon pouch. Even has fins and everything. It is so good. It plays 6 players out of the package.
It's a nice little party game. If you have one, it can hold up to 7 people, if I remember correctly, 7 or 8.
It's up to 6 for one, but if you have both salmons, it can be up to 12.
Yeah, so it's a nice little party game. Goes gangbuster. You can't really play it in a car setting too well, just because of like the switcheroos and stuff like that. But if you're going to say a party or a family reunion, it'll be perfect, especially because you can play it with kids.
Well, you can only do the switcheroos when you're like at a stoplight, right? You know, you get out of the car and
no, you
move
can
around.
do a fireman's drill.
Fireman's drill, yeah. We do not condone doing that, by the way.
So yeah, that's my first honorable mention is
Cool.
Happy Salmon, and it's just because you said it comes like in this unique packaging, I'm like, oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good pick. I like that. And you know, one thing that I'm surprised that people didn't say online, and I was really expecting it, is for anybody to say any game that has an app is a travel game.
Yeah,
Yeah, then because you have it with you, but I know the spirit of what we were suggesting. Yeah.
So
right.
Your next honorable mention is?
My next honorable mention is it is Geek Out, and that's because you and I have played it while we were in the car. You read the cards.
It's a great pick, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean it's a fun game. We ended up playing it for 4 hours straight. I think that's like one of the longest games that we've ever played.
It is just because, you're playing to a point system and stuff like that. We were just like, let's just go through this, keep going. And it wasn't just you and me. We had other people in our car, and it was just a good time. And especially when certain things would come up, like sports or Lord of the Rings, and people were going back and forth, like, I can do this and this. I know that stuff, but I know I can't do it in that. So
Right. Yeah, oh my god, it was so good. And then so the driver could be involved in it, kinda, you know, I mean, as long as they're not being too distracting, the driver can realistically be involved in it, because all it is just their thought. So if you're able to focus on the road, but then also talk with people, then you should be able to do that as well.
Yeah.
All right, so that was my honorable mention, because that's one that we actually did.
And so my second honorable mention, and the first one I actually came up with, is the Pack of Gum games. You actually own these, and so they come in like literally gum packets, and they're little small card games. I think the first set had 5.
Yeah.
And
5 or 6.
Not all of them are that great, but there's some in there that are. How is it this small of a game and the pack's that much of a game?
Right.
There's that one we played. The one that I really remember and enjoyed was the spelling one that had like the letters on it.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty good. Oh, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Each one of those had like a 3 a three-letter word to make to for the title, and I don't remember that one. What was that?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't remember the name of it, but I just remember, and I think those are perfect for traveling.
yeah,
Micro games like that you can put in your pocket, looks like a pack of gum. Play on the plane, has a small footprint. It's just a hand of cards basically in your hand. Really good travel game.
yeah. I know you don't like Liar's Dice, but there was one that he made called Lie that was
Yeah, no,
kind
I
of
remember
like
that one.
Liar's Dice.
Yeah,
Did you like that
it,
one?
it was okay. It's Liar's Dice, but in card format, and to me, I don't like bluffing games in general.
That's
So
fair. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think that covers our honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and get down to it. Did you want to be our first one?
yes, because this is kind of a cheaty uh, comment here, but it's just because you'll see.
Okay, well
And
then
this is
let's
my
clarify.
first.
Let's
Go
clarify
ahead.
first how we decided this. I picked one game that I picked. I picked a few games that I think would. At first, I was thinking like Ticket to Ride or Transamerica and stuff, ones that are about travel, you know. But
Especially now that Ticket to Ride has those smaller games like
right, yeah, those are
London and New
perfect.
York.
Uh huh. Yeah, and but I picked one game that that is portable, which we'll talk about in a bit. I picked one game that you can play while traveling in most settings, and then I picked one game that is highlighted by traveling.
Okay, so
So,
my picks go as such. One's cheaty, and you'll hear why in a minute. One, I have played it, and I've heard people playing it while at amusement parks, and actually getting people while waiting in lines to play the game with them.
okay.
And then another one is because I have played it on the road.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let's start with your cheaty pick.
All right, my cheaty pick is a deck of cards. It's plain and simple. 52 cards. There's so many games that you can play on the road with 52 cards, or while you're in a hotel room or on an airplane. You can play Rummy, Gin. What is that two-player game that we play all the time, and I can't think of the
Cribbage.
name? Cribbage. There's just so many games that you can actually play with just a pack of cards, and so that's why I think it's important to put this on here, because I love card games. I like poker. I like blackjack. Heck, you could play solitaire with just a deck of cards and still pass the time. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. You have the solitaire mode, and there's multiple solitaire games of it.
yeah,
No, I that came to my mind too. I really considered a pack of cards because, I mean, I have a pack of cards right here, ready to go, and it is. I always used to carry a pack of cards with me, so anywhere I was traveling, I would have a game ready to go. Now, I don't think that's a
yeah.
cheating pick. It's not one specific game. It's not a modern game, but it is important to learn some of the classics and learn how to have fun. I
And the
highly
thing is,
suggest people
with a
learning
deck of
cribbage.
cards, I can play a game that my grandma knows with her deck, with a deck of cards, and I can
Yep.
play a totally, completely different game that my wife knows
Yep.
with the same deck of cards. So to me, it overcompasses what we're going for here. So you're at a family reunion, you're gonna play cards with your family. You're gonna
Yep.
play poker. You're gonna play blackjack or stuff like that. So
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. No, I think that's a very fair pick. Which leads me into my first one, based on portability, and so I'm not gonna lie, a deck of cards came to my mind. I was like, man, but I have the gamer version of a deck of cards, a pairs deck. So a pairs deck is a pyramid deck, and it has the numbers 1 through 10. No, it's true. This really is like a gamer's deck of cards, isn't it?
no,
You know,
yes.
it has 55 cards. The number is 1 through 10, and the number that's on it is how many copies of that card is. So there's 1 1 up to 10 tens. And so this, if you have the compendium, or if you have like their deluxe version, there's 30 different games that James Ernest has had a hand in making. And Paul Peterson, which if you like stuff, any of like the cheap ass brand games, or if you like Paul Peterson like Smash Up or Guillotine, you know, they know what they're doing as far as small games go. And so the fact that the standard pairs game, where basically everybody has a card dealt in front of them, you want only one person will lose the game, and so it's good for like a pub game. Which, of course, if you're traveling, you might go, you know, to clubs or
And
pubs.
speaking of which, you've actually showed this to a friend of ours because he wanted a game that he can play in a pub.
Yeah, exactly. And it says on there, a new classic pub game, because that was the intention. It was like the one who loses buys the round or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the way the game works is that on your turn, you can either take the lowest number that's in front of anybody and score it as points, which generally you don't want points, but that might be a better option. Or you could try and deal a new card in front of you, and if it matches a card that's already in front of you, and you get that pair, you score one of those. So if I have an 8, a 9, and a 10 in front of me, and you have a 2, I'm going to take your 2. Because I have a lot more. I have like half the deck that I'm probably going to draw, and a 50-50 chance where I could just take 2 points and I'm done with it, and then all of them wipe clean. And I think that's a solid game. And so, yeah, that when I thought of a deck of cards, that was the first thing that came up. A more gamery deck of cards.
Yeah.
So
I get it. I'm not a huge fan of pairs, personally myself, but it's a really decent game, especially for travel purposes.
Sure.
I just rather play a deck of cards than play pairs.
Right. That makes sense.
As for Paul Peterson, I did think of Smash Up at one point, and I was like, that is good portable if you just do one of the expansions.
Yeah.
You don't want to take like the base game and stuff like that, because it's just a stack of cards, and if you do an expansion, a 2-player game works perfectly fine, especially for traveling, because it's a small footprint. I don't have just one thing. I have like the entire set behind me over here.
And you're not going to splice it out. No way.
No. So, yeah,
Nor
I
should
thought
you.
of it at first, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, my next pick is already been mentioned, and that's why I plead the fifth, is Love Letter.
Love Letter, yep.
And the thing about it is, Love Letter has you choose your own flavor. You have Lord of the Rings, you have Batman, you have regular Love Letter, you have God. It's basically Munchkin at this point. Everything has a Love Letter skin in it, practically. I think they just announced that they're going to do like a Marvel Love Letter or something like that.
I believe it.
Because I think, who has it now? It's not AG anymore. I think it's Simon that has
No,
Love
it's
Letter?
Z-Man. Z-Man owns it, yeah.
And yeah, they just announced like some new themes to it. Like I think there's supposedly, I heard down the rumor mill, I don't know if that's true or not, but there might be a Scooby-Doo version.
Probably. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they started working with the op and then have like a Disney version of it. You know?
So my thing is with Love Letter, it's a quick, simple game. It's a good game for what it was. I played a mess of it, so I don't really play it all that much anymore, just because it was one of the introductory games that we played when I first got into modern board gaming. Because I think when I started getting into it, that's when Love Letter was at its peak, at its rise.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was Love Letter, and it was like, oh, this is so good, and that's when all the reskins started happening.
Right.
And so I've played the Munchkin version, the regular version. I own the Batman version, and I played that other version that is in the same universe, but is a completely different game. I forget what it's called. But it's made by the same guy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the reason...
Lost Legacies.
Yeah, that one. The reason why I think it's a good travel game is because, one, it's small. It's just basic, especially if you get the one that's in the pouch. You just keep it in the pouch and take it with you. And I've played it on trips. It's gone down pretty well on trips. Also, a friend of ours went to Disney World, and he had his version of Love Letter for them to play while they're waiting in line. And he actually got other people who are waiting in line to play Love Letter with them. So I'm like, how does that not equate to a good portable game?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's a great choice. Yeah, I briefly thought about it, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. That goes along with the whole portable games idea. So, and that's really one of the best. So,
yeah. Especially because you can get it in a gamer box, which my Batman is in the gamer box, but you can also just get it in the baggie and take it with you.
Sure, yeah. God, I probably own no less than about 8 versions of Love Letter. I don't know why.
Oh, I also played the Lord of the Rings version, so, I mean, there's just
the
so
Hobbit
many.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, the Hobbit,
Yeah, that one is cool. I like how there's all like little permutations and differences on each version. I think that's always really neat. So, my second one is I wanted to pick a game that you could play while traveling, and specifically, this really racked my brain. When I always like it when you and I and our friends go on. We travel to a different state and trade in a bunch of games, and we spend a whole day doing it, and it's a blast doing.
And we get In-N-Out Burger. Don't forget that.
And we get In-N-Out Burger. Yeah, and it's like a tradition. We do it like once or twice a year, and it's really good fun. But every time we do that, I've been wanting to find games that we can play while traveling. And while we haven't done this one yet, this came across my mind, and it is the game. And I'll tell you what inspired it actually. Before I point it out, I remember playing Skyrim on Amazon Alexa. And I downloaded Amazon Alexa for that very reason. And it's not really a game. I mean, you're just kind of like, you're choosing paths, but there's no end to it. It's just more of a joke.
I'm so glad I got you on headphones right now because she would have gone off.
Yeah. So now the question is, what game can you play that you choose your own adventure and is so immersive, but you don't need to look at anything to do it? That's right up here. Choose your own adventure. The original one, the first one, that's a perfect game to play, especially if someone's driving. They can still help make choices. They can't make any rolls, but they can still make choices. And I think that would be a perfect game for that.
I've been playing it over social distancing over the internet, so yeah, it's fine. All you really need for that game is a strong reader.
Yep, that's it. So if you have the passenger reading it, you're good. You're sold. So, and then of course, if you're not driving, if you're in a plane or something like that, yeah, you could totally play it. There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
You know, the pieces are really simple, and you can have a marker like a magnetic board to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a simple game, and I agree with that. I think that's a really good choice, especially, like I said, it's good for traveling, it's good for portability, and like I said, we're playing it over social distancing, so...
Yep, exactly. So there you go. That's my number 2 pick.
All right, my final pick here is, again, another game that was already mentioned, and your honorable mentions.
Geek Out?
Geek Out.
Yep.
And the reason being is that you can have as many people as you want playing it. Usually, if you're in a car, it's like 4 or 5 people. But it plays. I forget what the classic game was. But you're outbidding the other person. You're saying, okay, I can name 4 characters from Star Wars, and they can say, hey, I'll do 5. The next person says 6. The next person says I can do 7, and it just keeps going until everybody is like, okay, go ahead. You think you can name 17 characters in Star Wars? Have at it. And so, and it goes so well. All you need is one person running the die. Basically, okay, it's Danny's turn. Let's roll this die. Okay, you got a red one, so this is your question. And so, oh, you got a white one. Which one do you give you a highlight of what you want to pick? That's all it is. And it's something we played for 4 hours. I mean, literally... We were in the city. We were talking about like going to this different state to turn in board games. We started when we left the city, and we played all the way till I think I was the first one dropped off because the other person was dropped off at the same time. His car was parked at my place, and the other 2 live near each other. So it's like drop us off and then head out. We played all the way to my house, and that was about 4 hours.
Yeah. I remember I had to convince you guys to be willing to play. You're like, no, come on, let's just chat and all that stuff. It's like, no, give it a couple rounds. You'll like it, I promise.
Well, I think it's because a lot of us were tired, too. I mean, we literally left at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was almost 11 at night by the time we were actually pulling into my my complex.
It was a long day, but that kept me awake, which is what matters. And I was driving, so...
Then we had a good time, and we talked a lot of crap to each other, and it really came down to me and our other friend Dom, because him and me are like the big nerdy ones of the group. Our other friend is really big into anime, but there wasn't really a lot of anime questions, and then you're just a knowledge of random. Weird facts. So when it comes to like Star Wars, you're like, I know Star Wars, but not as much as you guys.
Well, I like the fact that mine was just more of the chaos variable. It wasn't like the...
I don't think I could name 7 of these, but I don't think you can name 8.
Right, exactly. No, I loved like trying like random things. Of course, like the really obvious stuff. Star Wars, I know it, but I probably couldn't name characters nearly as well as you guys could. But if you had like games that could be played underwater, well then let me tell you. I'm gonna have a way to do it. And I don't even know if that's a question, but yeah.
But yeah, but and the thing about it too, it's not just like topics that we're talking about. They're the way the dice rolls. You have you choose. You have books. You have video games. You have board games. You have
Yeah.
pop culture, and it's not just tabletop games too. So it's like RPGs and such.
Right.
So it's literally the spectrum of geekdom. So pick your poison based on the dice roll.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. And so that was your number 2?
That was my number 1.
That was your number 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great pick. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a reason that it was in my honorable mention. I wanted to pick one for that while traveling category, and I think Choose Your Own Adventure technically beats that, in my opinion. But man, yeah. If I didn't come up with that idea.
You don't have to take the big box. Just take the cards and put them in a bag and take the die. That's all you really need.
Which is what we're going to do this next time.
Yeah.
Because I was picking those up off of the floor of my car for months. It was ridiculous. All right. My number 1, and I'm going to give a little bit of background to make more sense of why I enjoy this game so much. But it is the quintessential traveling game, okay? You pretty much can't play it unless you travel, as weird as that sounds. So, I used to do geocaching a lot, and for a lot of people who don't know what geocaching is, it's basically...
Ithri just said, hey.
Hey, Ithri.
How's it going, Ithri?
And Ithri, we're talking about games that are for traveling. If you have any input on games that you can either take with you that are portable, or games to play while traveling, or games that are good, or on a trip, yeah, anything that you think makes sense, feel free to butt in, and we'll read it in. But my number 1, it goes off of the core idea of me geocaching. So what I used to do with geocaching is you would go to a different spot given GPS coordinates. You would try and find a container. It could be anything as big as like a giant bucket out in the desert. Like that's not even hiding.
Or a magnet on the side of a metal sheet.
Or a magnet on the side of a metal fencing or a sheet or under a bench. Or a container called a nano that's that big. And all it has to do is have an ability to sign it and put your name saying, hey, I found this. It's a high-tech scavenger hunt is what it basically is. Well, along with that, there was a thing called travel bugs. And it was a little like dog tag is what it started as. And it had a barcode on it, and it had a unique code that you could put into the website. And the idea...
I know what you're picking. I think I know what your pick is.
You might. All right, we'll see if you're right here in a minute.
Let me just ask, is it a game that Jim really, really likes?
He does, yes. So the idea of what you do with it, of a travel bug, is you would have that code, and you're supposed to leave it in a geocache, along with like an item or whatever. And other people, when they find it, they pick it up and move it to another geocache. And then they track it, and you see how it travels around the world. And sometimes they travel really far, like to other countries. So let's talk about the game that's involved with that.
Can I guess?
Take a guess.
Sneaky Ninjas.
Yeah, sneaky cards. Yeah, exactly.
Sneaky cards, yeah.
By game rate. And the idea of it is you have a deck of like 50 cards, of like 4 or 5 different categories, and your goal of the game to get rid of all your cards. And all of them have different stuff, and anything from like starting a wave in a food court, or leave this in a place in like or like leave this next to like a picture frame or a mirror, leave this in a spot that people will find it, or do something nice, bake a cookie for a friend, or bake something for a friend and give them this card. And the idea is that you're trying to pass it along, and when you give them that card, you want them to do the same action and then pass that along, and you can track every card on the website.
Yeah. And then, so like, I still got to get rid of it, but I haven't had the opportunity. It's one of the cards to sneak into someone else's board game.
Yeah. And how long did it live in that board game? I mean, like at least a month or 2.
Yeah. So it's funny because it did get sneaked into my board game by our friend.
Uh-huh.
What happened was he snuck it into someone else's board game that we play games with, and I had lent him a game to show to his wife, and he snuck that card into my board game.
Oh, it's so good. I mean,
my plan is the next convention we go to, I want to sneak it into one of the library board games.
There you go. There you go. And yeah, board game conventions are a fantastic spot to do that. I felt bad for one of our friends. We went to Vegas, and you know, sometimes these cards get discarded. That's just the nature of the game. But as long
Yeah.
as you've given it away, it counts. And so it's to encourage that continuous play. But he went up to this guy who was dressed in a Spider-Man outfit in Vegas, and one of the cards said, "Give this to a person in costume." And so it's like, okay, well, that's perfect. There's a guy in costume. But he's one of those people that only get paid by taking pictures with people. So he's like, hey, here, you can have this card. He was like, I don't want it. He was like, well, I'm just trying to pass it along to a person in costume. He was like, okay. And he took it from him, walked over to a trash can and just threw it in there and then walked off. I was like, whoa. And then he was kind of bummed out, but I was like, no, honestly, you got rid of the card. You're 1%, or you're 1%, 2% to completing that deck. And I think I still have 2 or 3 cards in my original deck that's in my car that I keep there for a reason, and I just haven't done it yet because I don't bake. I think that's the one that I'm like waiting on. It's like,
It's real easy, Danny. So for you to bake, all you need to do is go to one of the stores and get the pre-made cookie dough and just put them in the oven. That's it.
I know, but like I can't. Who's gonna trust right now if I go to your house and I drop off like a croissant? It's like, here you go. You know, you've been doing good.
I don't trust you in general, so how's that any different?
That's true. That's true. I mean, I don't, and nor should you.
Remember,
But
you're always the traitor or the murderer or whatever.
I'm not gonna poison a croissant. I like them too much. Yeah,
Especially when they got ham and cheese on them. Oh my god, they're delicious.
I prefer a grilled cheese croissant. Now that's amazing. Like, that sounds ridiculous.
A grilled ham and cheese croissant, nothing can beat that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm getting hungry.
So If3 posted, Blocus has a travel version, as well as 1,000 blank white cards is fine for travel.
Oh yeah, which I need to buy more copies of 1,000 white blank cards so that way I can make more prototypes. Oh man, my parents would buy me the educational pack of cards that are like 400 cards or 200 to 400 cards in individually wrapped packets, and I always use those for prototypes, and I'm already running out. I got probably 800 cards for Christmas, and it's April, and I have maybe 100 left.
It's because social distancing has made you force you to try to come up with new games.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's the creative outlet.
It's productive, honestly, but
It's productive. I mean, I was telling Daniel a little bit before, and we're just ranting now. But right at like 2 or 3 in the morning, I woke up with an idea for a game. So I was also kind of hungry. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go get a snack. And then before I got a snack, I came and sat down in my game room and broke out the pieces, like scavenged them from other places to think of where I wanted. Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, before we end this podcast, we can still stay on Twitch live and talk with If3 here.
Yep.
What have you been playing lately?
Oh, what have I been playing lately? So I haven't been playing it, so I wanted to ask your opinion on this. I tried learning Founders of Gloomhaven.
I did see that text. I just didn't respond because I don't own it.
Right, and this is, if I'm not wrong, the idea of it is you're trying to gain control of different resources. I think there's like 8 or 9 different resources that you can gain control of, and you can gain control of them by basically buying into other people's ownership. Like, so you don't own it, but like you have like a stake in it, and at the same time you're also bringing like nicer buildings onto the board that have different shapes. They're kind of like polyomino tiles, and you're trying to connect them in different ways
because it scores based on what it's connected to all the way down.
Right, but every tile, all of the road tiles are 8 directional, so they go up, down, left, to right, and every one of the 4 diagonals, which I feel is kind of a cheat. But I get it. Like, it's not a big deal. But it just seems like that. Like, it certainly didn't seem streamlined. It took me an hour and a half to get through setup, and it didn't look like an overly complicated card, but for some reason it's just my body was telling me no. And I like Euro games, but this didn't seem like it was quite the same as like a resource management. It seemed like it was kind of a stock market game, And so I'm asking the viewers if you've had any thoughts on that. I don't know. I like heavy Euro games. It's just there's something about this that just seemed off to me. So
I think the big part of it too is with his is that he tries to do different things, and I like Isaac Childress Gloomhaven. Of course, I've
yeah,
said is my favorite game. But I think from everything I researched, and this is why I never bought it, as much as I love Gloomhaven, just every video I saw of it, it just says the scoring is so convoluted, is so impactful. Some people really, really like it because it's a really good, thinky game.
right,
But it's to the point where it's too thinky for my liking. I like thinky games. I like where I'm gonna have to bust out my simple math, bust out my calculator to score my score. But this
sure,
one is like this score is based off this, and this. You got points for that because you're part of it, but you don't get points for that because it's not connected to this part over here. And I'm just like, no.
right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that was deterring me from trying to learn it any further is because it it had all of the remnants of like a heavy duty Euro game, which once again I do enjoy those. I do like heavier Euro games. It seemed so restrictive, so many counter rules and so many conditional things that it looked like it should have been streamlined. And so maybe
Yeah,
I'm wrong with that.
no, I don't think you're wrong, honestly. Again, there's a reason why I don't own it. It's just, it's too convoluted for what it really is supposed to try to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to play a heavy Euro that has convoluted scoring, I'd rather play, say, what is that one? God, I can't think of it off the top of my head now. Heaven and Hell.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I get that. I get the scoring in that. It is convoluted, like because you have to do
Well, no, but I'm
conversions and
saying,
weird stuff.
yeah, but it's got convoluted scoring, but at least you know how it works.
Right.
With Gloomhaven, or Founders of Gloomhaven, you're trying to put certain things down to make sure they score you as much points as possible, but you need just like that little bit, like hopefully someone puts this down next to it, this way it gets the full set of points, or hopefully this goes down next to it, this way it gets the maximum points and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's worth my time to keep a hold of it and have someone teach me at a convention, or if I should probably just assume that I'm not going to enjoy it.
I honestly, I don't know when
Yeah.
it comes to that game. As as much like I said, I'm in Frosthaven right now. I have Gloomhaven, and I'm gonna pick up Forgotten Circles here eventually, the expansion. Hopefully, I can start Gloomhaven again.
Gloomhaven. Yeah. Maybe we should
But
start playing it over the video chat. There we go.
yeah, send him the information, and we can do it over the video chat.
Yeah, I could just get my character out and then build a deck. It should be possible. But as for what I have been playing, and then we'll get to yours in a moment, I did actually play 2 games with the wife the past week. We played Azul, which is always phenomenal, and we played Imhotep, which is a fun
Such a
Phil
good
Walker
game.
Harding game. Yeah, and that's gotten me to the point now where I am actively searching every Phil Walker Harding game. But now I'm noticing he has a pattern. Everything is just how you score points based on efficiency, and then every game seems like it's just slightly different in how that efficiency works. So he has
Well,
like
it
one
also
mechanism
depends on
and ways to score points.
the mechanic too. Yeah, it's about the efficiency, but I mean, an Emotep, it's basically what is it? I split, you choose type thing where
No, you load your cubes
action
onto
selection. Yeah,
I-
action selection.
right. Yeah, and then you set
And
your
then
cubes on the
gingerbread house
boats.
tile, being efficient with your tile placing, and
Yep.
Gizmos is just an engine builder. So
Yeah, but it's just take marbles or do one of these 4 actions. Where like
yeah,
gingerbread houses, lay down a domino tile, take some resources, trade them in,
try to
right?
capture a villain or a hero to put them
Yeah,
into your score pile. So
yeah. Once you get to but yeah, I mean it's man that I'm having a lot of trouble deciding which Phil Walker Harding game is my best or my favorite, and yeah, maybe one of these days we'll do. Yeah, it's up there. It really is. But one of
As
these
much as
days
I
we'll
like
do a
to- I
top 8.
haven't played Gizmos yet, so Gizmos might change it from everything I hear. But Silver and Gold, man, I'm
Yeah,
just digging the.
he is quickly climbing my ranks of like the top designers. I know he's in my top 10 for sure. And now I'm wondering if I did a list for the comic shop probably about 4 years ago of my top 10 designers, and I remember I put Antoine Bauza in there, I think, which I don't think he would be on my list anymore.
I don't
Um,
think I've enjoyed a Bowser game in a long while.
Hanabi is the only one that comes to mind for me. I don't mind
I mean, I
Tokaido.
enjoy Hanabi, but it stresses me out. It's one of those games that just gives me that stress. I'm like, just like, don't pick that card. What are you doing?
I think what it is like if you get a designer who's really good at making Euro games and they
There's an
make a
honorable
simple
mention we
card
didn't
game.
mention was Hanabi.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great portable game. I think like if you take a good Euro designer and make him make a simple card game, like or one of their simple card games, that's probably like prime for me. So Antoine Bauza, my favorite game from him is Hanabi. One of my favorite games from Uwe Rosenberg is Bonanza, which is just a simple card game. I think
Well, that's how he
Archaeology would be
started,
really
though,
good.
right? Was like small card games. Was Uwe Rosenberg
Yep, yep. He just
before he
started
went
with
to the
small card
heavy
games.
ass Euros.
Yeah, exactly. No, it started as small card games, and yeah, there's probably plenty other designers I could think of. If Stefan Feld made a card game, oh, he did. Castles of Burgundy, the card game.
Yeah, which my issue with that, and I've seen it, and I heard it's a really good game.
Yeah.
But it's such a table eater for it's supposed to be a card game.
Yep. And the thing is, they're half-size cards, I believe, most of
Yeah.
them, and
It
it's
still
still,
eats up a lot
yeah,
of the table.
it's still a lot of stuff, but it gets a cool feel for it. So, what have you
The
been
one
playing
I
lately?
haven't played, I have played the card game. You and me have played it at your place a while ago.
Yep.
Is I want to try the dice game because I heard it's a pretty.
Oh, the
decent
roll and
one.
write. Yeah. I bet it's pretty good. I haven't played it yet. Well, I mean, I have played it. I played it as the solo version, back when I first got it, probably 2 or 3 years ago.
So I wouldn't mind trying it just because I heard it's a really good roll and write.
We'll definitely do that. What have you been playing lately?
Not much. I remember last week we ended up playing Horrified. If people joined us, was it last Wednesday or Thursday? It was Thursday. We played
Yeah.
Horrified over Twitch and lost miserably.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
We only took out one. We weren't even halfway, or we were almost done with the mummy and almost done with the Invisible Man, but we hadn't finished their first part. So yeah, it was a miserable loss.
I think what we could have done, I think it boiled down to the last like couple turns where there was so many villagers on the board and nobody was going in to save them, and we were still trying to progress completing the missions. I won't name names, but I do feel that there was that at least one of us were focusing more on completing the monsters instead of saving the villagers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'll name names. Danny.
hey, that's 2/3 of the table there. Um,
So, yeah, so Horrified was one of that I played. I started reading the base rules for Western Legends. This way I can get familiar with that, as well as the solo rules for it, because I really want to bust Western Legends out and read it. Also read the solo rules for Everdell, one of my newer games, right there.
yep.
And so, just because I want to get that to the table and play it, but I have played this before. I actually played it at the
At the board
what is
game
it called now?
convention.
The Three Wizard Con or something like that.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
I remember you playing that. I wanted to be part of it, but oh well. Alas, I will get a chance eventually.
well, yeah. Eventually, I mean, I own it, and you could be one of like 12 different animals.
Right? That's pretty cool. And then we're definitely gonna have to get Root to the table too at some point
Yeah,
and try that.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything that I would have played recently? Now that I think of it, no.
Oh, actually, there is one more that I can add to that list. Is me, my wife, and both of my kids did the Escape Room in a Box. And
Nice.
yes, and out of all of the escape rooms, I've done the first 6 Unlock series. I have the other numbers 7 through 9 that I haven't played yet. I've done the first 4 exits. I've done Escape Room the game, all 4 scenarios in the original one of that. I've done the first two MacGyver escape room games, and I've done Escape Room in a Box. Plus, I've done actual escape rooms.
And built your own too. Don't forget to mention that.
And which one?
And built your own too. So
Yeah, and we built our own. Yeah. So, and I've done the Deckscape, one of the ones, the like heist.
So the only ones of the escape rooms that I've done are the. Oh no, I've done the exit. We did the. I think it was the cabin.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause we did that together.
That one's cool.
I've done two
Oh, that's
of
Unlocked.
the Unlocked series.
Yeah.
Which was the. No. We did the exit had a cabin one too, where you had to cut things up. Yeah, no, I remember because we did it. It was you, me, Jim, and I think Tori and Linshow.
Okay.
Another one I've done, or the other ones I've done, is the Unlock series. The what were the two I did? I did the Nautilus one, or Nauticus.
Yeah. The underwater one.
The one before that one. The only one I have three.
Was
of
that
them.
the sausage one? Like
no,
the
not
cartoon
the sausage one. It was the. I just sold it too, so I can't look it up. It was the. It was the haunted house one for the Unlock series.
Yeah.
The mysterious mansion or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that one. I did the Nautilus. I have the pirate one. Just haven't got to the table yet.
Yeah, they're all pretty good. I want to get the next series, the one where it has all three of them in one box. I'll eventually get that pretty soon. But I can honestly tell you,
the one I didn't like was the Nautilus one. Some of the cards just didn't fit properly like it should have, so it took us longer than it needed to.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was like a printing problem. Out of all of them that I've played, though, I can honestly tell you, Escape Room in a Box, the Werewolf Experiment, has the best components, hands down. And that's comparing it to like Escape Room the game that has the big old timer device.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't really say much because I think the only ones I've really played, Escape Room in a Box or the Escape Room the game is the only one that has really pieces per se. Unlocked is an app and deck of cards. Deckscape deck of cards.
Yeah.
And Exit is pretty much cards / things that you can cut up and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Exit, it's really good about that. Like the cutting the pieces apart is good for like puzzles and whatnot, but there's problems with that. There's some really great puzzles in all of them, honestly. I like all of them.
Oh, yeah.
But the Werewolf Experiment, there was a lot of different puzzles, and they kind of threw a lot at you to try and mess with. Like you had almost everything available, and it was neat how it worked. And I really enjoyed it, actually. I was really impressed by the level of quality that it has. And then you could do it again, like they offer you to print out pages for it. It's like, I'm not going to do that. But it was still pretty good.
That's my issue with Escape Room the game, or Escape Room games, is once you're done with it, I mean, you already know how the puzzles work, so...
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I didn't mind buying the Escape Room games unlocked, because... I bought them for 50% off, so they were $7 a piece, basically $7.50 each for me for all three of them. And then I just sold them once I was done. So. Yep.
Yeah, $24 altogether after tax or whatever.
Someone else has some fun with it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the purpose of them. I should do that. I have 6 unlocked games that I have. I'm looking at them right there. They're just sitting there. I've already played them.
And don't get me wrong. They're not super expensive. Like the Unlocked, they're now packaging them like they did in Europe, where it's all 3 in one box.
Yeah.
So it's still, $45 at that. It's still $15 a piece per game. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is good. They don't have to buy all the extra boxes and components for it.
And and then you can still resell it. And I have no issue with that. And Exit is cheap because you're not going to be able to play it again because you're destroying parts of the game, which is understandable, but it's not super expensive. I heard Deckscape is really good and really cheap. So
I don't like Deckscape. I didn't like it, and I'll tell you why. If you can't solve the puzzle, they'll still let you continue, and it'll be like a penalty. Like, so what you do is you solve the puzzle, then you see if you're right, and you flip over the card. It's like, oh, here's the answer. Were you right? No. Okay, then it's a penalty. And I like having to solve the puzzle to continue. Like, that's the point. That's the stress that's involved.
Well, I don't mind that in a sense, just because Deckscape, from everything I hear, is supposed to be the simpler form of it. of all the escape room games to make it more family friendly. Because on Locked, I mean, you can still move on if you don't get the puzzles right, because it starts giving you a lot of hints. So this is what you need to do.
Right.
And you win or lose if you can make it within the time frame. So you can still keep going even though you've lost.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't disagree with that. I think that makes sense. That was a personal thing. I didn't like that nearly as much, but I've only played one, so it might not be that might be the case.
Yeah, so other than that, I've been playing some video games, do my normal Animal Crossing, checking on how my little neighborhood goes, because the wife basically stole that from me, so I only get it every few hours, but I am a huge sports fanatic, if you cannot tell by all the hats I wear.
So you've been watching marble racing and competitive hacky sack and...
So I've actually been playing my baseball game on my PlayStation 4 just because I need my fix. I need that, I need that hit. So that's actually what I've been doing since I beat Persona 5 Royal. Has been playing some baseball on there just to give me some sports. I'm actually looking forward to the draft on Thursday. So
there you go. Yeah, that'll be fun for the next season. Yeah, I can't wait to actually go down to El Paso and go to some actual games.
Yeah, I can't.
It's been too long.
So where we live, there's a AAA team that's about 40 minutes away from where we live, and it's so fun. Mm-hmm. I love the Chihuahua games. They're known as the El Paso Chihuahuas. They're the AAA affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Mm-hmm. And one has really good food there. Really good food, especially for like a ballpark.
Yeah, it's good food.
There's a thing I like getting there. It's called the pulled pork hot dog.
Oh, jeez.
It's so intense. Good. It's got pulled pork, a hot dog, barbecue, and the hot dog's wrapped in bacon, coleslaw. The thing is delicious. And I'm like, man, I could really go for that right now, but there's no ball games going on.
Right.
And what I like about it is it's relatively cheap. I think for like the best seats in the house is $40, $50, and where I like to sit is either the first base or third base line.
Okay.
They're $20 a ticket.
Oh, there you go. That's not bad.
Yeah, and then they got a playground for the kids who get bored playing or watching the baseball game. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That they have that little playground.
If you buy the grass seats, it's literally right behind the grass seats.
That's interesting. That's cool. I didn't know about that. I might have to do that. Because my daughter didn't care that much, but my son ate it up. He really enjoyed the whole. He was more interested in the food, which I don't blame him. But
it's good food. Don't get me wrong.
It was a great experience.
I've been to a lot of ballparks, and growing up, and especially now, food has gotten better at ballparks. But the food at the Chihuahua Stadium is just delicious.
Right. Awesome. Well, I think with that nice positive note and that aspirations for traveling and plans for when this whole thing is done for, we have a lot of good stuff planned, and we're looking forward to it, and we want to hear what you guys think as well. So, real quick, our next week's topic, and this is for next week's Wednesday's Chits and Giggles, will be games that need reprints. For whatever reason, maybe there's one part of it that we just couldn't stand and we need better components, or games that are older that just aren't in print right now and need to be reprinted. So that's on our list.
And just to let everybody know, Friday's Top 8 debate topic is going to be intellectual properties. However, we had to break this down into two, as we said last week. And this Friday's is going to be intellectual property movies, TV, and radio. And the top 8, as stated, is X-Wing versus Ghostbusters, Firefly versus Disney Villainous, Horrified versus Star Wars Outer Rim, and Hogwarts Battle versus Thanos Rising.
There we go. So tune in for that on this upcoming Friday, as always, at noon o'clock, that we're going to be filming in Mountain Standard Time on Twitch. Or
Mountain Daylight Time.
Mountain Daylight Time, that's right. That'll be on Twitch, and so... come check us out there. Once again, it's twitch.com. That's strange. Twitch.com/everydayboardgaming.
Twitch.tv.
Twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. Thank you.
And then also the YouTube channel is getting set up at the moment. I'm starting the editing process. Videos will be loaded up onto YouTube Everyday Board Games 2020. Once everything's set up, we'll start putting posts out there and get that rolling.
Cool. Awesome.
If you would like to contact us or email us to give your advice or give some information, you can contact us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com.
Great. And with that being said, we appreciate you all for tuning in. Thanks for joining in on the conversation, and we will see you next time.